Hello guys, welcome to a new video. In this video we're going to be going over a few tips, 14 or 15 tips on how to get the most out of your Jeep Wrangler if you're going to daily drive it like I do. I had a commenter ask a question. I'll put the question up on the screen somewhere, and he asked basically what are some tips on how to stretch gas mileage and some tips on how to make the Jeep Wrangler a better daily driver. Because it's not a very, I feel like it is a pretty split decision between some people who do buy the Jeep just for off-roading, or some people that do daily it, as well as like a weekend warrior type Jeep Wrangler, which is completely fine, whichever path you go. But let's go ahead and jump right into it and start off talking about eco mode and RPMs. So if you don't know what RPMs are, it's basically revolutions per minute. It's how many revolutions the engine makes per minute. And basically, essentially, what you need to know is the higher the RPMs, the more fuel you are consuming, essentially. So if you have a Jeep Wrangler that has eco mode on the dash, I don't know if all the models come with it, but mine does. And basically, when you're between 1,000 and about 2,000 RPMs, you'll be in eco mode. So yeah, so just stay in between 1,000 and 2,000. Don't be really quick off the line. Just kind of ease into the speed, because you burn a lot of fuel since the Jeep is really heavy and kind of bulky. Trying to get up to speed, that's where the engine works the hardest. So yeah, just try to keep it between 1,000 and 2,000 RPMs, which could be hard on the highway, because well, especially in my Jeep Wrangler, I have the 4-speed automatic. So sometimes if you're driving 70 or 80 miles an hour, you'll be at 3,000 RPMs and up. So just be careful. Just try to lower the RPMs. But yeah, so speaking about RPMs, if you have a manual, that would make stretching your miles further. It'll make it really easy, because you can control exactly which gear your Jeep is in, whether it's 6th gear, 5th gear, and also if you have a manual, you have more gears than an automatic Jeep Wrangler. Hopefully they bring an 8-speed or a 10-speed or something to the Wrangler in the future for the JL. I think is the next model of Jeep Wrangler. Correct me if I'm wrong. So yeah, if you have a manual, then it should be easier to control your miles per gallon. Automatic, just be really easy on the gas, and the transmission should shift for you really easy. If you guys are wondering what I'm looking at, I have a list here. You guys seem not to like it when I just talk all over the place, and it's kind of unprofessional. So next thing is don't lose speed. So if you guys have seen Initial D, the anime Initial D, the main character drives an AE86. Now, the power band of the 86 is really high in the RPMs, because, and also the Panda Chueno is a heavy car. So getting up to speed burns fuel, and it's slow. So what he did was just hit the corners really fast, so he didn't have to stay, so he didn't slug down the car. So if you guys don't know what that is, just completely forget what I said and just listen to what I say. Hit the corners fast. This is something that hypermilers do, is just turn into the corners really damn fast. Like, I'd say to make a 90-degree turn, you might need to go, regular people would go 15 to 20 miles an hour. I hit them about 25 to 30 miles an hour. But I mean, don't try to flip over your Jeep just to save some miles per gallon, but hit the corners fast. Don't slow all the way down, because once you slow down, your engine has to work harder to get the speed back up. It's really self-explanatory, not too bad. Let's see. Keep the Jeep light. Yeah, so lightweight. Keeping the Jeep lightweight will help it, since the car is lighter, then the engine won't have to work as hard. So whether that means not carrying a refrigerator in the back of your car, stuff like that. Throw away your trash in your car. Every ounce counts. So just keep that in mind. Keep the Jeep light if you're trying to save miles per gallon. Don't give anybody a ride unless they give you gas money, because a few £100 will change the characteristics of how the car drives, or the Jeep drives. Sorry, you guys get really mad when I say car instead of Jeep. I'm used to saying car. Sorry, I'll say Jeep now. Yeah. Saving weight. Taking the top and doors off. Now that will save you, if you have a hard top and some full doors, it'll save you about roughly 250 to 300 pounds, give or take a few pounds. But about 200 pounds, I think. A soft top, pretty negligible, but yeah. So if you have the doors and the top off, stay on the side streets, because then you'll have a lot of wind resistance if you're on the highway with the doors and top off. But if you're going to be highway driving, keep the doors and the top on. I know that's not very fun. And also keep your windshield folded up. That should be obvious, but hopefully you guys know that how aerodynamics works. So yeah, if you're gonna drive on the highway, roll your windows up and keep the doors and the top on. Alright, let's keep going. Air up your tires. I run 42 PSI all the way around. It's said to be higher PSI, the more miles per gallon you can squeeze out of your car, since there's less rolling resistance, as opposed to like a lower PSI. So some people run 50, I've heard ridiculous ones go up to 60, I run 42, but just keep in mind, the higher the PSI, kind of the rougher the ride, because you won't have that, the less air pressure to kind of even out some of the bumps and some of the lines in the road. So keep that in mind. If you're gonna air up, it might be uncomfortable for you, so just pick a PSI that is good for you. Mine is 42, and it's pretty good. As far as tires go, I run 285 7017s, so I can run on the stock wheel, and I use BF Goodrich KO2 tires. Those are all terrains, not that aggressive of a tread, but they are kind of heavy. So compared to the 31-inch radials that do come on stock. Speaking about stock, staying stock will be the best chance you get at saving gas mileage. If it's not obvious to you, the Jeep is not aerodynamic, it is a tank. So once you get it higher and you put heavier tires and you get a stubby bumper and all that stuff, and you get a light bar, all that adds wind resistance and it adds weight. And if you don't overcompensate that with a bigger engine or different gearing or a supercharger or something like that, then you will lose dramatically your gas mileage. So if you want to just squeeze the gas mileage out and you're not too worried about a lift kit, I would say don't do the lift kit, stay stock, stay 31s, keep your radial tires, because that will be the best chance you have. However, if you do want to do some off-roading like a weekend warrior, like my Jeep, I would just suggest get 33s, some 28 7017s, like I do, BFG KO2s, whatever all-terrain tire you want. The KO2s are about 400 a piece, so it could get pricey. So let's keep talking about tires and lift and stuff. So if you do have big tires and a lift, use proper gearing. Like I said just a few seconds ago, use a proper gearing. So there are pictures all over the internet and videos. I can make a video in the future on how to choose the right gears that you'll need to keep the stock transmission going and the speedometer and all that stuff like that. So big tires, big lift, get the gears also. Should be common sense to you guys. Here are some things that you could buy that could possibly help your miles per gallon. They're all myth to me, but I have heard that it does actually work. So a Canon air filter. This does a few things. Number one, you basically have an air filter that will last you the test of time, because you can just keep washing it. Number two, you have more increased airflow than a stock air filter. And number three, if you buy the cold air intake, you can squeeze a little bit of performance also out with it, as well as get a little bit more miles per gallon because your engine can breathe a little bit easier. Next, exhaust. So speaking about breathing, the air that's coming in and the combustion that has to go out, big exhaust. I wouldn't say get an insanely big exhaust, just a high flow or something like that, whether it's MagnaFlow, blah 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 blah. I don't know much about exhaust, but I do know that if you do have an upgraded exhaust, you can squeeze 1 or 2 more miles per gallon out of your Jeep Wrangler or any car or any vehicle, for that matter, just because science. Next thing is a chip. This is really common mod for some people. For any vehicle they have, whether it's a car, Jeep, whatever, they do get a chip system. So like a super chips, if you guys don't know what I mean, I'll put a picture up here. It's basically a little computer that you hook up to your car in the like in the cockpit area, and you can program whether you want. You can tune it. It's kind of like a tuner, and you can put in. I'm pretty sure some of them come with eco modes and stuff like that, and you can go ahead and squeeze a little bit of gas mileage out from there. So now here are just some. The last tip I have is to stop early. This is like a hypermiling trick. It's basically, so if you're driving to a stop sign, you see it turn red, don't wait until you're like 50 feet in front of it to start braking. Brake really, really early. So this keeps you off the gas, and your engine can just kind of coast down, and you're not, it saves gas. It saves gas. It's hypermiling. That's basically kind of what it is. And the last thing I have to say to you guys will probably be what will be in the comment section of this video already. Some of you guys probably already typed it in, is face it, it's a Jeep. You are not if you bought this car for miles per gallon to commute, then maybe you should have picked something else. I'm not dissing your buying choice, but just saying, if you're making a big deal about miles per gallon in a Jeep, you bought a Jeep. These are not meant to Priuses are meant to go further miles per gallon. These are meant to destroy off-road, and these are actually one of, if not the best off-road consumer, like, you can buy these. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but face it, it's a Jeep. Don't get too flustered that your Jeep won't make 26 miles per gallon, because honestly, nobody really makes higher than 20s. I've never ever seen it. Maybe on the highway, on not a windy day with the wind at your back, but the realistic appeal about this is actually that you can probably, the miles per gallon for the Jeep is not so good right now. So anyways guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like the video if you liked it. Comment below your tips for getting to daily a Jeep. I kind of talked more about fuel consumption than just regular how to daily it, but basically don't mod it. That's how you daily a thing. Keep it reliable. And Jeeps are really reliable, so it shouldn't be a problem. So comment below all your tips on how to hypermile, how to keep it as a daily driver, and all that stuff in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Share with the Jeeper. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.